We hear the term artificial intelligence literally everywhere. But what does it actually mean when it comes to the rules that govern our society? The stuff that actually matters. Today, we're going to cut through all that hype to find out what AI officially is, the definition that's critical for law, for safety, and for our fundamental rights. So let's get into it.
Right? It's the big question. We all talk about AI changing the world, but if you ask 10 different people what it is, you're probably going to get 10 different answers. Is it a self-aware robot? Is it just a fancy algorithm recommending what you should watch next? The truth is, a single legally binding definition has been, well, tricky to pin down, but it's one we absolutely need.
And here's why it matters so much. As these systems start making huge decisions about our health, our jobs, even our freedom, we have to have a common language to talk about them, and more importantly, to regulate them. Without a clear legal definition, you can't really make rules to protect people from harm. It's the bedrock for everything else.
Okay, so that brings us to a really big deal in this space, the European Union's landmark AI Act. This is one of the first major attempts anywhere in the world to create a complete legal rulebook for AI. And right at its core is a very specific, very carefully worded definition that could end up being the standard for everyone.
I know, it sounds a little dense, a bit like legal speak, but that phrase right there, capability to infer, that is the whole ballgame. See, this isn't about a machine just crunching numbers like a calculator. It's about a system using data to come up with something new, a prediction, a piece of content, or a decision that actually has an impact on the world around us.
So let's break that down into plain English. What does it really mean? Well, according to the law, an AI system has 4 key ingredients. First, it's machine-based. It has to run on some kind of hardware. Second, it infers from data. It learns from what you feed it. Third, it produces outputs. It actually creates something, like a prediction or a decision. And finally, that output can influence our world, either digitally or in real life.
But the EU's approach is actually way smarter than just defining what AI is. The really critical part is that it classifies AI based on the potential danger it poses. Because let's be real, regulating a simple spam filter with the exact same heavy-duty rules as a surgical robot, that would make absolutely no sense.
And this leads to this really clever tiered system. You can picture it like a pyramid of risk. Right at the very top, you have AI systems that are seen as an unacceptable threat to our rights. And guess what? They're just banned outright. And as you go down the pyramid, the rules get less and less strict.
Let's just zoom in on those top 2 tiers for a second. At that unacceptable level, we're talking about some serious stuff, like government-run social scoring or AI that's designed to manipulate you into doing something harmful. That's a hard no. The next level down is high risk. Now, this stuff isn't banned, but it is heavily controlled. This is where you find AI being used in really critical fields: medical devices, hiring software, law enforcement, basically any place where a mistake could have some really severe consequences for a person.
The law also carves out this special category for what are called general-purpose AI models. Now, you should think of these as the huge, powerful engines behind a lot of the AI tools we see today, the ones that can generate text, images, and all sorts of other stuff. Because they are so powerful and can be used for so many different things, they get their own special set of rules, mostly focused on being transparent and managing any big systemic risks.
Now, this whole effort to define and manage AI, it's not just happening in a bubble in Europe. Not at all. It's actually part of a much bigger global conversation that's all heading towards one single crucial goal. How do we build AI that we can actually trust to make things better for all of us?
And you can see that with groups like the OECD. That's the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It includes a whole bunch of major economies from all over the world, and they've developed their own set of principles too. It's all about creating a shared playbook, a global vision for how to govern AI responsibly. And these 5 principles are really the foundation. They say that AI should help everyone, not just a few, that it should respect human rights and be fair, that we should be able to understand how it works, that it needs to be secure and reliable, and this one's huge. There has to be clear accountability for what it does. It's basically a blueprint for making sure AI serves people and not the other way around. Okay, so we've got legal definitions, we've got global principles, that's all great. But what does any of this actually mean for you, for us? Let's bring this down from the high-level policy stuff to what it means in our daily lives.
This quote from the AI Act, I think, just gets right to the heart of it. These rules aren't really about technology. They're about people. They're designed to protect our core rights, like privacy, and to make sure our personal data is safe from the very beginning of an AI's design all the way to the end of its life. And this leads to what might be one of the most powerful new protections for all of us. Under these new rules, if a high-risk AI system makes a big decision that affects you, we're talking denying you a loan, rejecting your job application, things like that, you have the right to demand a clear explanation of why. That's real power. It gives you the ability to actually challenge these automated decisions.
Which brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? We've managed to define AI for the laws we're writing today, but this technology is moving at a dizzying speed, so the real challenge ahead is making sure our rules and our rights can evolve just as fast. How do we build a system that's strong enough to protect us now, but flexible enough to handle the AI of tomorrow? That's the conversation we all need to be having.